Imagine you were so good at cheating in Arc Raiders that you could never get banned. I want that for you. So I've boiled down my years of cheating experience in various games into a 3-pillar formula. By the way, you'll have to take note today because we're going much deeper than just the basic use smoothing on aimbot. We're going over the secrets to how so many players and even streamers cheat without ever getting caught. Using cheats can leave you with the most fun experience that you've ever had, but it can also leave you with a banned account and wasted money. To figure out why people get banned, let's watch this. What you just saw was a player who was able to blend in with cheats just like any other player. But what's really going on here? Instead of blatantly shooting everybody with aimbot and pre-firing, he only sticks to one feature for most of the time. The hard truth is that when you're using cheats, your goal shouldn't be to become a god. It's better long-term to play with subtle advantages, which would mean sticking to ESP, for example. That's not to say that periodically you can't turn on aimbot for the moments that count. The feature is on cheat for a reason, but it should only be used in circumstances where it's absolutely needed. Using minimal features on cheats is the foundation of everything else we'll go over later in this video. Now we're going over the specifics on what features you want enabled and what you should leave disabled. Our goal here is to give ourselves an advantage while still managing to blend in just like a normal player. Let's start with aimbot. When it comes to aimbot, there's a ton of different ways that we can configure it to either snap onto enemies' heads or give us more of like an aim assist. Under aimbot, we have the ability to adjust a feature called smoothing. This feature is often called sensitivity on some cheats. We want to keep this to a high setting. As you can see here, for example, when we lower the smoothing to 0, the aimbot snaps onto targets. But if we set it to 70% or higher, it becomes more of an aim assist, which is what we want. Next, we have your FOV circle. Everything within this circle here, the aimbot will lock onto. We can adjust the size of the circle on the menu, and it's recommended to make the circle about this size on my screen. Then we have visible check. What this will do is not allow your aimbot to target enemies if they're not visible. With visible check disabled, when you're peeking an enemy behind a corner, your aimbot will track them as shown here. However, when we enable this feature, the aimbot will only track them once they become visible. Lastly, for aimbot, we have bone selection. Here, we can choose which bone we want to target, like head, chest, arms, or legs. I would recommend to set this to chest, but if you're in a heated interaction, you could set it to the head briefly. As for ESP, it's completely up to you what you'd like to have enabled, but these are my personal favorite settings to have here. Once you have made your cheat configuration here, on almost every cheat, you'll be able to save your config by clicking the MISC tab and hitting save. Now, every time that you boot up the cheat, you'll have your config ready to be loaded. We've been talking about how you should stick to minimal features and how to configure your cheat, but we're missing something so important that without it, we'll never be able to cheat without getting banned. The cheat you use is the foundation of everything else we talked about. With a good cheat, you'll have access to customize your aimbot, have good FPS, clean looking ESP, and much more. But that's not all. You see, if your cheat is detected, then everything else we talked about gets thrown out the window. It's key that you find a good cheat which works for your needs. At Arctic Cheats, we specialize in giving gamers a competitive advantage while ensuring customers can stay undetected for months on end. And if this sounds at all interesting to you, then we'd love to have you as a customer over Arctic Cheats. We've got over 26,000 customers and 24/7 support, which can answer any of your questions. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.